Thursday Hoops. The man who puts the dynamite in this lineup, Andre Iguodala and the Philadelphia 76ers go up against the Philadelphia 76ers and their slasher extraordinaire, Andre Iguodala. 76ers. 76ers. Up next.
And as every year passes, that guy right there, Andre Iguodala, has only gotten better with age. There he was, arriving earlier today. We're at the home of the 76ers, a fortress of basketball here in Philadelphia. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! A look at the 76ers starting group. Evan Turner and Iguodala on the perimeter. Elton Brand is out there with Spencer Hawes and Holiday. And for Philadelphia, Iggy and Brand.
Thursday Hoops. Always in the center of the action, Steven Jackson and the Charlotte Bobcats go up against the Charlotte Bobcats. 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 Coming right up.
There's a shot earlier of Steven Jackson as he and his Bobcats prepare for action. It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. Here at the Time Warner Cable Arena, the fans are in Charlotte, North Carolina, amping up for their Bobcats. So let's take a look at the starters for the Charlotte Bobcats. E.J. Augustine and Steven Jackson in the backcourt. Wallace and Dio are the forwards, and Dan Pierre. And for the Bobcats, Wallace and Dio are the forwards, E.J. Augustine and Steven
Thursday Hoops. A veteran slasher with a lightning first step and a knack for getting to the line. Corey Maggette and the Milwaukee Bucks go up against the Milwaukee Bucks and their incendiary sophomore point guard, Brandon Jennings. Milwaukee. Up next.
The Bucks always lean on this man, center Andrew Bogut, and they'll do so again today. It's an all-Eastern Conference matchup in today's game as the Bucks come into town for this one. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Now, the starting group for the Milwaukee Bucks. John Salmons and Corey Maggette fill out the wings. Mba Amute is down low with Bogut and Jennings. And for Milwaukee, Jennings and Salmons in the backcourt. Mba Amute is down low with Bogut.
Thursday Hoops. The high-octane superstar Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls go up against the Chicago Bulls and their low-post technician, Carlos Boozer. Chicago. Up next.
All eyes are on the Eastern Conference in this game as the Chicago Bulls play this one at home. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Now let's take a look at the Bulls' opening lineup. Rose and Dang on the floor. Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah, they're inside. And Brewer. And for Chicago, Derrick Rose and Ronnie Brewer in the backcourt. Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah, they're inside. And Dang. Now here's Rose.
Thursday Hoops. The hot shooting floor captain, Mo Williams, and the Cleveland Cavaliers go up against the Cleveland Cavaliers and their master of the garbage shot, Antoine Jamison. Cleveland. Coming right up.
Welcome to Quicken Loans Arena. We're in downtown Cleveland, the home of the Cavaliers, where we're going to be broadcasting today's action live. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Here's the starting group for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mo Williams and Anthony Parker pair up in the backcourt. Jamison and Varejao in the middle. And Moon. And for the Cavaliers, Anthony Parker and Jamario Moon on the wings. Jamison and Varejao in the middle. And Williams.
Thursday Hoops. A bruiser in the very best sense of the word. Kendrick Perkins and the Boston Celtics go up against the Boston Celtics and their bone-rattling big man, Kendrick Perkins. Boston. Up next.
Arriving earlier this afternoon, it's point guard Rajon Rondo and his Celtics primed and ready to go. We're holding court at the home of the Celtics here in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! So let's take a look at the Boston Celtics starting lineup. Rondo, Allen, and Pierce for the perimeter. Garnett and Perkins in the middle. And for Boston, it's Pierce and KG at the forward with Perkins in the middle. Rondo and Allen make up the backcourt. How other teams in your division view you as an opponent is such a telling tale, Clark, for the Celtics, who who beat up on.
Thursday hoops. The 7-foot center Chris Kaman and the Los Angeles Clippers go up against the LA Clippers and their sweet shooting two-guard out of Indiana, Eric Gordon. Clippers. Up next.
Home court belongs to the Clippers in this one as we bring you a Western Conference matchup live from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Here are the 5 for the Clippers. Griffin and Kaman are up front. Baron Davis and Eric Gordon pair up in the backcourt. And Butler. And for the Clippers, Baron Davis and Eric Gordon pair up in the backcourt. Butler and Griffin make up the forwards, and Kaman. Let's find out now what...
Thursday hoops. Kicking it up a notch at crunch time. Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers go up against the Los Angeles Lakers and their all-NBA shooting guard, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Los Angeles. Up next.
And there's Phil Jackson with some pregame instructions for his players. It's the Lakers in a Western Conference matchup. It's Laker basketball at the Staples Center. Beautiful day outside. We are live in downtown Los Angeles. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And now the Lakers starting group. Artest and Powell in the forward slots. Fisher and Kobe man in the backcourt. And Bynum. And for the Lakers, Powell and Bynum filling up the middle. Kobe and Artest are the wingmen, and Fisher. Now here's Gasol. Moments ago, Doris, you caught up with Phil.
Thursday hoops. It's going to be the Memphis Grizzlies up against the Memphis Grizzlies. 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 Up next.
And here are the Grizzlies and the resident scoring machine, O.J. Mayo, arriving earlier. Memphis landed the Grizzlies in a fine Western Conference battle at the FedEx Forum. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And the starting group for the Grizzlies. Gay and Randolph make up the forwards. Conley and Mayo in the backcourt. And Gasol. And for the Grizzlies, Conley and Mayo in the backcourt. Randolph and Gasol together inside. And Gay. Grizzlies improved last season, managed 40 wins. That's 16 more than the prior year.
They really came out of the gate strong, but...
Thursday hoops. He knows how to light you up inside and out. Joe Johnson and the Atlanta Hawks go up against the Atlanta Hawks and their 6'7", 240-pound shooting guard, Joe Johnson. Atlanta. Up next.
One of the hardest working players in the NBA, Joe Johnson, as he arrived earlier today. We're at the home of the Hawks, a fortress of basketball, Phillips Arena here in downtown Atlanta. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Some interesting stats start to pop up when you look at the Hawks. They played the fourth slowest paced in the league last year. That kind of surprises me with all their athleticism.
Me too, Kevin. You would think they would be much more committed to playing at a faster pace, especially since they've got so many guys that would seem to thrive in that kind of offense.
Looking at
Thursday hoops. Equally deadly off the bounce or the mid-range pull-up. Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat go up against the Miami Heat and the fastest-moving brick wall known to man, LeBron James. Miami. Up next.
It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. We are live at the American Airlines Arena, where the Heat have home court advantage. So here's Miami's starting group. They've got LeBron James, D-Wade out there with Mike Miller. Then there's Chris Bosh and Anthony. And for Miami, LeBron and Bosh are the 3 and the 4. Mike Miller is out there with Dwayne Wade. As we see the Heat here, they were 32-20 last year in the Eastern Conference, good enough for the 5th seed.
They might have wanted to avoid the 5th seed.
Thursday hoops. The spellbinding superstar playmaker, Chris Paul and the New Orleans Hornets go up against the New Orleans Hornets and their superstar point, one of the greatest in the game, Chris Paul. New Orleans. Coming right up.
It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. We're at the New Orleans Arena, where the Hornets will try to turn it up on their home floor. And the starting lineup for the Hornets. Chris Paul and Marcus Thornton are in the backcourt. Weston Okafor, the big bodies down low, and Ariza. And for the Hornets, Weston Okafor, the big bodies down low. Chris Paul and Marcus Thornton are in the backcourt. Now here's Paul. Earlier.
Thursday Hoops. Don't forget this guy when discussing best points in the NBA. Darren Williams and the Utah Jazz go up against the Utah Jazz and their big-bodied, big-talented point guard, Darren Williams. Jazz. Coming right up.
And it's Al Jefferson on the way in. It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. We're at the EnergySolutions Arena. Utah fans are cheering for their Jazz. And checking out Utah's opening lineup, Andre Kirilenko and Paul Millsap are the 3 and the 4. Darren Williams and Raja Bell in the backcourt, and Jefferson. And for the Jazz, Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson up front. Darren Williams and Raja Bell in the backcourt, and Kirilenko. Utah with a solid 31 wins against the West.
Thursday Hoops. The Haitian sensation out of Seton Hall, Samuel D'Alembert and the Sacramento Kings go up against the Sacramento Kings and their hard-charging floor general, Tyreke Evans. Tip-off moments away.
And Tyreke Evans with his pregame routine. It's the Sacramento Kings and the Sacramento Kings. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Let's take a look at our starters for Sacramento. Carl Landry and Samuel D'Alembert up front. They're with Udrich and Caspi. And for Sacramento, Caspi and Landry at the forward slots. There with Tyreke Evans and D'Alembert. Looking at the Kings last season, they had the second lowest attendance in the league. Very surprising. A little over 13,000.
Yeah, really surprising considering they had the Rookie of the Year in Tyreke Evans, and they actually
Thursday hoops. It's going to be the New York Knicks up against the New York Knicks. Knicks. Up next.
And a shot there of Amari Stoudemire arriving earlier today. We'll see the New York Knicks facing the New York Knicks. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And now the New York Knicks starters. They've got Gallinari. Felton is out there with Wilson Chandler, Leonard Stoudemire, and Randolph. And for the Knicks, we've got Randolph, Wilson Chandler out there with Felton. Then there's Gallinari and Stoudemire. The Knicks came in 11th place in the Eastern Conference, Clark, a season ago, going 29-53.
And that record included 20-32 in the Eastern Conference. Coach D'Antoni, well respected.
Thursday hoops. It'll be the Orlando Magic facing off against the Orlando Magic. Magic. Coming up next.
His game is all about power, and that will be on display tonight. It's Dwight Howard. Live from Orlando at the home of the Magic, we're broadcasting from the Amway Center. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! A look at the Magic starting group. Shard plays the 4 with Howard at the 5. Nelson and Carter are manning the backcourt. And Pietrus. And for the Magic, Pietrus and Lewis are the forwards. Nelson and Carter are manning the backcourt. And Howard. Quite a force last year, Clark, the Orlando Magic. Just looking here at their numbers, they were just unstoppable in the Eastern Conference alone with 39 wins.
Well, Kevin, a lot of teams in the East would have been happy with 39 wins overall on the year.
Yeah.
Thursday Hoops. The franchise focal point with his mid-range mastery, Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks go up against the Dallas Mavericks and their hard-nosed small forward. They call him Tough Juice, Caron Butler. Dallas. Up next.
With a decade's worth of all-star appearances to his credit, Jason Kidd is NBA royalty. Home court belongs to the Mavericks in this one as we bring you a Western Conference matchup live from the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Always a big asset for any sports team. This Mavs team is lucky to have such a dynamic owner committed to winning. Even though they have an aging roster, they've managed to be a premier team for the last decade.
Thursday Hoops. Explosive to the rim and an aggressive defender, Devin Harris and the New Jersey Nets go up against the New Jersey Nets and their premier penetrator at point, the supercharged Devin Harris. New Jersey. NBA action.
And a look there at Avery Johnson getting his team all on the same page. The Nets are looking to defeat their Eastern Conference rival going into this game. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! So the Nets starting five. Anthony Morrow and Travis Outlaw on the wings. Brook Lopez is out there with Murphy and Harris. And for the Nets, Anthony Morrow and Travis Outlaw on the wings. There with Brook Lopez. Nets only scraped out four road wins all of last season.
Well, that's the worst road record in recent memory, partner. I mean, 4 wins in 41 tries is really, really bad.
Here's Harris.
Thursday hoops. A rim-ripping ruffian out of Dallas, Texas, Kenyon Martin and the Denver Nuggets go up against the Denver Nuggets and their steadying presence at the point, Chauncey Billups. Denver. Up next.
It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. It's all about the Western Conference. That's where the action is today as the Denver Nuggets get ready to battle. Now the starting group for the Denver Nuggets. Melo and Kmart at the forward slots. Phillips and Aflalo are the backcourt. And Nene. And for the Nuggets, Phillips and Aflalo are the backcourt. Melo, Martin, and Nene make up the front court trio. Looking at the Nuggets here, Clark, they were 12-4 in their division a season ago. Good enough to win it for the second consecutive year, the Northwest Division.
Yeah, and the year before that, Kevin, they had the same record as well, so it seems like
Thursday hoops. Bringing his complete game to the table, Danny Granger and the Indiana Pacers go up against the Indiana Pacers and their stat-stuffing small forward, Danny Granger. Pacers. Coming up next.
It's an Eastern Conference showdown as the Indiana Pacers come into town for this one. We are in Indiana for some Pacers basketball. This hometown crowd ready to go. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Let's check out Indiana's starting lineup. Rush and Granger are the wingmen. Then there's Collison. Then it's Roy Hibbert and McRoberts. And for the Pacers, Rush and Granger are the wingmen. And there's Collison. And for the Pacers, a 32-50 record overall last season, number 10 in the Eastern Conference.
not what they expected, Kevin, but at home the Pacers did end up
Thursday hoops. The always in motion wingman, Rip Hamilton, and the Detroit Pistons go up against the Detroit Pistons and the 6'7" jump shooter, Rip Hamilton. Pistons. Up next.
We're in a place they call the Palace of Auburn Hills, outside Detroit, the home of the Pistons. We're broadcasting today's game live. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And a look at the starters for the Pistons. Stuckey and Rip are in the backcourt. Prince and Jerebko are the forwards, and Wallace. For the Pistons, Prince and Jerebko are the forwards. Stuckey and Rip are in the backcourt.
Well, the story for Detroit last season was their big money acquisitions of Ben Gordon and
Thursday hoops. It'll be the Toronto Raptors facing off against the Toronto Raptors and their 7-foot long-range specialist, Andrea Bargnani. Coming up next.
It's an Eastern Conference battle at the Air Canada Center here in Toronto as the Raptors look to work home court advantage. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Here are the five for the Raptors. They've got Calderon. Amir Johnson is out there with Lennox Glazer. Then it's Bargnani and Barbosa. And for the Raptors, Calderon is out there with Barbosa. Then it's Bargnani. Then it's Amir Johnson and Glazer. Toronto came in second in the Atlantic Division last year, 11-5.
Yeah, and Toronto and Boston were really the only good teams in that division.
Thursday Hoops. A dominant young swingman scorer, Kevin Martin and the Houston Rockets go up against the Houston Rockets and their ultra-efficient swingman, Kevin Martin. Rockets. Coming up next.
Rockets here at home in this Western Conference matchup, live here in Houston. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! A look at the opening lineup for the Houston Rockets. Brooks and Martin manning the backcourt. Luis Scola at the power forward, and Big Yao Ming in the middle, and Battier. And for the Rockets, Luis Scola at the power forward, and Big Yao Ming in the middle. Brooks and Martin manning the backcourt. But you think about this Rockets team, they worked to play a more up-tempo style without Yao last year, and with their smaller front court, they really emphasized running out for layups and corner threes.
And without the big
Thursday Hoops. He plays the game the way it should be played. Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs go up against the San Antonio Spurs and their two-time MVP, four-time champ, the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. Spurs. Coming up next.
And there's the guidance from Greg Popovich prepping his team. We're at the home of the Spurs, a fortress of basketball known as the AT&T Center here in San Antonio, Texas. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! So with Ginobili sitting on the bench, here's how the floor looks for Greg Popovich. Parker and Hill man the backcourt. Jefferson out there with Duncan and McDyess. And for San Antonio, Parker and Hill man the backcourt there with Jefferson. Here's McDyess. Now let's find out what head coach Greg
Thursday Hoops. His legend simply continues to grow. The Canadian sensation Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns go up against the Phoenix Suns and their meteoric two-guard, Jason Richardson. Coming up next.
And there's a look from earlier today at the former NBA MVP, Steve Nash. It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. This Arizona crowd ready to roar in this Western Conference matchup for the Phoenix Suns. Looking at the starting five for the Phoenix Suns. Hakeem Warwick and Robin Lopez in the middle. Jason Richardson and Hedo Turkoglu at the 2 and the 3. And Nash. And for the Suns, Jason Richardson and Hedo Turkoglu at the 2.
Thursday Hoops. The dynamite playmaker scorer running the offense, Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder, go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder and their superstar scoring phenom, Kevin Durant. Thunder. Coming right up.
It's Western Conference time for the traveling Oklahoma City Thunder today. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! So here's Oklahoma City's starting group. Durant, Green, and Kristich compose the front court. Westbrook and Cephalosha in the backcourt. And for the Thunder, Green at power forward and Kristich at the center. Cephalosha is the 2 with Durant at the 3 and Westbrook. 28 wins for this Thunder team against the Western Conference a season ago.
I don't
Thursday hoops. The rugged rebounding power forward Kevin Love and the Minnesota Timberwolves go up against the Minnesota Timberwolves and their charismatic floor general, Johnny Flynn. Timberwolves. Coming right up.
"2K Sports" checks in with our loyal viewers with a broadcast from Minnesota, the home of the Timberwolves, the Target Center. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And the starting lineup for the Timberwolves. Wesley Johnson and Kevin Love make up the forwards. Flynn and Brewer on the backcourt, and Milicic. And for the Timberwolves, Kevin Love and Darko Milicic up front. Flynn and Brewer on the backcourt, and Johnson. Only 10 wins at home for the Timberwolves last season, Clark.
Yeah, and they're a team that is rebuilding, but you always want to be closer to 500 at home than what they.
Thursday hoops. The cool and confident Andre Miller and the Portland Trail Blazers go up against the Portland Trail Blazers and their go-to playmaker, Brandon Roy. Portland. Coming up next.
The Blazers looking to defeat their Western Conference rival going into this game. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! Blazers, Clark, are really the opposite of run and gun. They like to slow it down, one of the slowest paces in the NBA.
Well, actually, they were the league's slowest paced team,
okay.
Kevin, last season. It makes sense, though, if you look at their roster. They want to slow it up and play a half-court style to take advantage of some of that size and depth up front.
Let's take a look at our starters for
Thursday Hoops, draining trays and distributing the rock. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors go up against the Golden State Warriors and their psychic playmaker with a honey sweet stroke, Steph Curry. Coming right up.
We're in the place they call Arco Arena in Oakland, California, the home of the Warriors, where we're going to broadcast today's game live. Just loosen that belt and let the tryptophan take over, baby, as we bring you some NBA action on this Thanksgiving Day. Gobble, gobble! And now the Golden State Warriors starters. Jarrell Wright and David Lee are the forwards. Monte and Curry in the backcourt, and Beatrice. And for Golden State, David Lee and Andres Beatrice up front. Monte and Curry in the backcourt.
Thursday Hoops, the emerging big man Andre Bloch and the Washington Wizards go up against the Washington Wizards and their high-octane scoring guard, Gilbert Arenas. Wizards. Coming right up.
It's the NBA on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, with Clark Kellogg, Kevin Harlan. Glad to celebrate this holiday with you and your family. Battling the Eastern Conference, this DC crowd hoping to watch their Wizards come out on top. So a look at the starters for the Wizards. John Wall and Gilbert Arenas pairing up in the backcourt. Bloch and McGee up front, and Howard. And for the Wizards, Josh Howard and Andre Bloch at the forward spots. John Wall and Gilbert Arenas pairing up in the backcourt, and McGee. The Wizards struggled last year, but they really struggled within their own division.
And their division is no cakewalk part.
It's all the stars of the NBA gathered on one court for a night of incredible basketball. The best players from the East face off against the best the West has to offer. It's a star-studded affair, and it starts now. The NBA All-Star Game.
a shot before the game of Pau Gasol. Hello and welcome to today's Thanksgiving matchup here in Dallas, Texas. The visiting East All-Stars will square off against the West All-Stars. So with Rondo on the bench, here's who's on the floor for Stan Van Gundy. LeBron James is out there with Garnett. Then there's Howard. Then there's Dwayne Wade and Johnson. And for the West, Stoudemire out there with Duncan. Then it's Anthony. Then there's Nowitzki and Nash. The East control the tip-off, and we'll get this one started. From the sideline, let's catch up with Doris Burke.
Well, Kevin, another season and another step in the development of Carmelo Anthony. He upped his scoring rate, improved his defense, and also showed that when the D brought help, he could find the open man. George Karl likes that unselfishness, saying, beating a defense by the pass, it confuses and frustrates the D more than just going by a guy one-on-one. Back to you, Kevin.
Interesting, Doris. Thanks. Now, here's Nash.
Thursday Hoops. It's Team Jordan going up against Team Jordan. Up next.
Welcome, everyone. Tonight we have a pretty intriguing matchup, a contest between two very evenly matched teams. Team Jordan will face off against themselves. So with Johnson sitting on the bench, this is Phil Jackson's lineup. Anthony out there with Wallace. Then it's Chris Paul. Then it's Michael Jordan and Wade. We've got Anthony. D. Wade out there with Chris Paul. Then it's Wallace and Jordan. The Jordan team control the tip-off, and we'll get this one started. Here's Wade, rebounded by Anthony. And here is Jordan. Moments ago, Doris, you caught up with Phil Jackson. What do you have to say?
Kevin, their perimeter shooting game is what he thinks will make the difference in this one. He didn't want to take anything away from the defenders they're up against, but he did say he'd be surprised if his team doesn't shoot a high percentage from outside. We'll see, guys.
Thanks, Doris. Always want to get those threes falling consistently.
Yeah, Kevin, you're right, because that's really the only way that you can force the defense to spread out and extend itself, and when that happens, then other opportunities are created.
Here's Paul. After the made shot from Carmelo Anthony, Paul kicks to Jordan from about 19 feet, and a great